Let's say that you're in your 20s. You're just starting out in life. One day, an insurance salesman walks up to your doorstep, toting his briefcase and wearing a cheap suit and a loud tie. And he rings the doorbell and smiles like a televangelist and says, "Have I got a deal for you?" He's pushing a brand new insurance program. He calls it lifetime disaster insurance. He says, for the rest of your life, you'll be covered whether you're a teenager, in your 20s, 30s, whatever age you are. This insurance protects you against anything. If you're disabled in a car accident, a mugging, any other sort of horror, this insurance policy will kick in and cover all of your medical expenses, your rent, your food, and pretty much everything else from the time you're injured until the day you die, even if you live to 100. You look at him skeptically, but unfazed, he continues. He says, not only will this insurance plan cover you, but it'll also cover your spouse and kids. If something terrible happens to you, then your spouse and your children will be covered and cared for as part of this insurance plan. And if something happens to any of them, their medical bills and the cost of feeding, clothing, and housing them will be covered too, forever. Not only that, he continues, if you have a child with a birth defect, God forbid, that requires lifelong care, this insurance plan will cover all the medical expenses and all the cost of living expenses for your child from birth to death, even if your kid lives to 90 and you're long gone. Sales pitch sounds too good to be true, right? I don't think most, 20-somethings even know that such insurance is available. An insurance plan that covers you, your spouse if you happen to get married, your kids if you have them, for life. It can never be revoked, including your living expenses. I mean, even if it is true, something like that would have to cost a fortune, right? So you're about to ask the salesman the important question, well, how much does it cost? $500 a month, $1,000, $2,000? And then it dawns on you, if you're well informed, you don't need this insurance plan. You already have it. It's called Social Security. You and every other American from birth to death already have it. And the best part about it is that it's completely free. Even if you're just getting out of school and never worked a day in your life and thus never paid any payroll taxes, you still have this vital insurance. You're entitled to it from the moment you're born until the day you die, which is why it's called an entitlement. But now the bad news. There are people in America today who want to take that insurance policy away from you and give it to their billionaire buddies on Wall Street. In Dwight Eisenhower's day, we referred to these people as stupid, just as Eisenhower did. But today, these people run the Republican Party. People like Paul Ryan, John Boehner, Marco Rubio, Eric Cantor. Even worse, retired political hacks like cat food commissioners Alan Simpson and Erskine Bowles, two guys who now charge $40,000 an hour in speaking fees, are pushing hard to kill Social Security by handing it off to Wall Street, even though Social Security is sitting on a $2.7 trillion surplus. Fortunately, their efforts to cut or privatize Social Security aren't working. According to a new poll by the Pew Research Center, Americans aged 30 to 49 by a margin of 52 to 35% believe preserving Social Security insurance is more important than reducing the deficit. And younger Americans share that sentiment by a margin of 48 to 41%. Americans in the 18 to 29 age group believe preserving Social Security is more important than deficit reduction. And keep in mind, Social Security has nothing to do with the deficit. But don't expect the polls to slow down the Republicans and the cat food commissioners. If they can whip up enough phony fear and convince enough younger Americans that their retirement is in jeopardy, even though retirement funds only account for 2/3 of Social Security, fully a third of Social Security is people who are injured, wounded, widows, orphans, disabled kids. That's 1/3 of Social Security. But if they can convince people, it's unsustainable, then they might even succeed in turning Social Security insurance over to Wall Street. Because that's their ultimate goal. Instead of free, lifetime disaster insurance guaranteed by our government, available to every 20-year-old in America, every 10-year-old in America, every 30-year, it doesn't matter what your age is. Social Security is not just for old people. Instead of having this program guaranteed by our government, conservatives want Wall Street to own Social Security's $2.7 trillion trust fund. Banksters like Lloyd Blankfein and Jamie Dimon are drooling at the chance to get their grubby hands on those trillions and go buck wild in the markets with it, skimming billions off the top in fees. And once Wall Street gets their hands on Social Security insurance, then you actually will be meeting insurance salesmen in loud ties, hustling the very same disaster insurance plan that you have right now for free. Only this time, they'll charge you lots of money for it. The fear-mongering over Social Security insurance, led mostly by extremely rich people, is the biggest scam being run right now in America. Spread the word.